Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to C.A.R. Entertainment. I'm your host Dylan Hamilton, guys, and today we're going to be moving on with our A21 Digital Technology Revision videos. Last time we covered AI, and now today we're going to be talking about the Copyright Law, the Computer Misuse Act, and then ethics to do with digital technology and covering these acts. We do have the Data Protection Act as well, which comes under this legislation and law sort of area, but that'll be covered later on in a different video. So let's get straight into this and talk about copyright, computer misuse, and ethics. So let's start off with talking about the Copyright Act, or as its proper title, the Copyright Designs and Patents Act. And this is an act that protects those individuals that create and produce material based on original ideas, including books, articles, music, films, and software. You'll know all about copyright if you have a YouTube channel and you publish videos, or just if you have a YouTube account, you'll know what copyright is. Everyone has an idea of what copyright is. Essentially, you can't steal someone else's work. Software piracy is a major concern involving illegal copying, modifying, or downloading of software, and this is what the Copyright Design and Patents Act tries to stop. What falls under the Copyright Act is the theft by one company of ideas and methods of other ICT companies. So if an ICT company basically just steals an idea or a method of another ICT company, that comes under the Copyright Act. But this is only the case if it hasn't been patented, and that's where the Patents Act comes in. If that ICT company has made an idea or has a way of doing something, but they haven't patented it, then the other company can take it. But if the idea is patented, then you can't. Then it'll fall under the Copyright Act. So there's two negative effects of the Copyright Act, or two negative impacts of copyright. Well, there's going to be higher prices for customers buying the software legally, because obviously it's the legal version. They can charge whatever they want because you have to get the software. It will discourage software houses from being innovative and creating new software. Organizations that purchase a software license and then carry out audits on the software that it uses, and then they will monitor who has access to that software. So this is what organizations will do. They'll purchase a software license, such as the Microsoft Office, then they'll carry out audits on the software occasionally on who uses it, and then they'll monitor who has access to the software. So if anyone illegally accesses it, then they can take action. The company must have control access to the software, and employees are only allowed, and only the authorized employees are allowed to use the software on the PCs. And this ensures that unauthorized software is not permitted in the workplace. So moving on now to the Computer Misuse Act, which can be a wee bit easier to understand, although whenever you learn the four parts of the Computer Misuse Act, the four things that fall under it, it can be quite confusing because they're very similar. But essentially, what is the Computer Misuse Act? Well, it's an act that prevents computer crimes that involve unlawful access to a system or files, like hacking is essentially the main one. The impacts that it has is that it means it's unlikely a legitimate corporation will deliberately breach the Computer Misuse Act, but individual employees that are in this company may use company resources to hack into other systems, and this is an impact, sadly, of the Computer Misuse Act. Another impact is that the organisation may be negligent in taking steps to prevent this, and this means that they can be held partly liable for the actions of the employee, which is also unfortunate. There's different policies in place which can ensure that the employees are aware of the terms of the Computer Misuse Act and then the consequences of breaching it. It will include the acceptable use policy, including the organization's disciplinary procedures. The computer use will be audited regularly, just like the Copyright Act, and it will and you can implement a username and password, meaning that access to different areas of the system will be lightly controlled. This will mean employees will have access rights necessary for the completion of work, and therefore you can know who's signed into where at what point. So what is illegal then, right? Well, the first thing is the unauthorized access to computer material, and that has a penalty of up to 6 months in prison or a £5,000 fine. Then the second one is very similar. It's unauthorized access to computer material. It's the same as normal, but this time it's the intent to commit a further crime. So the first one, unauthorized computer material, that could literally just be anything. Like you could just stumble upon it. So you may not have any intent to do that, but you have stumbled upon it unauthorized. The second one is then you have an intent. So you've gained access, you've had unauthorized access to this computer material, but then you have an intent then to go on and further commit a further crime of this. And the penalty for this one is 5 years, and then there's an unlimited fine. The third one is the unauthorized modification of data, and it has a similar fine of 5 years and an unlimited fine. And finally, the fourth one is making, supplying, or obtaining anything which can be used in computer misuse offences. And this penalty is up to 10 years and/or an unlimited fine. So there's definitely ethical considerations you need to think about. The ethics include moral values, which can be used as guidance for computer users, and the code of ethics will serve as a guideline to help determine whether a specific computer action is ethical or unethical. Governments will control access, such as blocking access to certain websites or search engines. This will be done through schools like C2K, as they block different websites off. The government can do this also. People will copy and paste other people's work and pass it as their own. This is very big thing of plagiarism, which can also be an ethical concern to do with computer misuse and copyright. The expert systems, which we'll cover in a later video as well, will be only as good as the programmer who programmed it, and therefore this can be used to aid human decision making only, which is an ethical consideration. The automatic decision-making systems that remove the need for humans and result in faster processing speeds. This is ethical because obviously humans aren't doing the job. So that means decisions are more subjective, and the automatic decision-making will potentially be flawed, and this leads to inaccurate decisions. The concerns and the risk of letting a machine make decisions and losing control, and then also replaces human workers, which is quite unethical, sort of removing jobs of the human. Thank you for watching this video. I've been Dylan Hamilton from C.A.R. Entertainment, and I will see you next time.